Hey there, everyone. My name's Ben. I'm one of the club officers for Center County Disc Golf Association. I'm really excited today to be talking with Brian Allen. Brian's a freelance artist right here in central Pennsylvania, and he produces illustrations under the Flyland Designs moniker. And in September 2018, when the Flyers revealed their new mascot, Gritty, under some controversy, even though he's now become a beloved icon. Brian got some fame and some notoriety, at least, as the creator of that mascot. And we wanted to talk to Brian because he's also got this unique connection with the disc golf world, and we thought his perspective would be one that you would like to hear. Brian, I know there's probably a whole lot more to you. How do you introduce yourself these days?
Yeah, I've been a freelance artist since 2012, but I've been a professional artist ever since I graduated from Penn State in 2004. So as you said, Gritty is probably the highest profile thing I've ever done, but I've also worked with like Activision and Marvel. Just did something for MTV this year, which was going to be really cool, but unfortunately it got canceled because of coronavirus. Sure. They hired me, we got started, and then 3 weeks later, everything, went to hell. But that happens sometimes. Actually, this is the first time it's ever happened. Hopefully the last time. But I mean, sometimes big opportunities come and they go just as quick as they came. I'm just a self-employed guy living in Bellefonte with my wife and 2 kids.
This is kind of your home area too, is that right? Did you grow up around here?
Yeah, I went to State High. My family moved here when I was about 10. So I have memories of other places before that, but I pretty much grew up here completely. My father worked for Penn State, and all my brothers went to school here too, and met my wife here. So, yeah.
Okay. So I found an article where you gave this quote. I always say the reason I'm good at drawing is because I suck at sports. I spent most of my high school years in my room drawing. So we'll get to your disc golf connections, but I'm curious, is that a sport that you play these days, given your artistic involvement in that world, or have you ever picked up a disc and thrown it?
Yeah. I played disc golf a fair amount, like before I even started drawing for it. But I've never been like good at it. I've actually started trying to watch some YouTube videos and stuff to really actually get good at throwing it. But before I was hired to do disc by Discraft, I kind of always thought it was sort of just a casual game, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
I went to some of the courses around Center County, and then I got this call from Discraft, who I hadn't even heard of before, because I think all the discs I had were maybe Innova discs that I picked up at just a sporting goods store. And then I realized like this whole world, like a really competitive community and a supportive community, and just lots of layers. But yeah, that quote holds up. I suck at disc golf just like I suck at all other sports. But that's why I like disc golf, because I think you can still have a good time without being good at it.
Yeah.
It's not. I've tried regular golf, and like that is not a game you can have fun whilst sucking. So.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Brian's done some absolutely incredible artwork for Discraft as part of their full foil series. Discraft is one of the very few manufacturers that does that sort of artwork printing and multicolor from edge to edge, like giving you basically the entire disc as a canvas. I'm curious how you got connected with Discraft. You said they reached out to you. What was that first interaction like? Were they just looking for artists and saw you?
There was an employee named Marnie Peters. She was really nice. She worked for Discraft, and they were hiring artists to do like the special edition Halloween buzzes. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but like every year they release one where it's the Discraft bee, but drawn as like a famous horror character. So I think the first one I did might even be hanging up, but it was the bee as Michael Myers, and then we did one as Leatherface. And from there, they were really well received, I guess. So they hired me to do some more. And then after that, a friend named Tony contacted me. He owns a company called Detroit Disc Company. And his idea was that I actually produce my own foil discs every month, like we've been doing, because Discraft is really cool in that they'll let people like myself design artwork and then buy them wholesale. A lot of other companies I think wouldn't waste their time with because I do pretty small orders. It's usually just like 40 to 60 discs at a time, and they've been really cool to let me do that. So in addition to doing a couple designs a year officially for Discraft, I've been doing like one of my own every month, and just releasing that on a small scale, which is a lot of fun.
With that full foil printing, if Discraft's kind of one of the only manufacturers you'd even be considered using, because your artwork specifically is so detailed and multi-layered and colorful. It's not like the tri-foil designs that are on some other discs, or even single foil designs that have no color except for the foil.
Yeah, they're definitely the only ones, and it's a really cool effect. I don't know how they do it, to be honest. It's really cool. Because I have done some official discs with Innova, and they print full color, and it looks really good, but they can't go edge to edge. So I don't really know. I'm not sure if that's like a patented technology or if it's just something that they haven't figured out. I'm starting to try to design some like single stamp or some hot stamp discs with single colors, because a lot of people who collect my art have been saying that they want to actually like play with the disc too. And that's the problem with the foils, is that if you throw that once, like it's going to get scratched up.
Right.
So people are usually, I don't think people usually play with these. I think they just hang them up. But yeah, so I'm going to start doing those. I think with Innova, I did a wizard disc recently with Gateway, and that went really well. I definitely love the color though. So that's my first instinct, is to always just throw tons and tons of color. So it's a little challenging actually to design something with just one color.
I'm curious, you talked about like discovering this whole world of disc golf beyond just the casual play. What have been some of your biggest surprises so far in getting into this sort of disc collector world, or the competitive side of things, stuff like that?
Lots of good things, but just the first thing that came to my mind was kind of a bad thing. Is there are a lot of cases of like stolen art in this community, I guess. I was just involved in something where there was a company that had been around for a couple years selling discs. They were doing the same thing where they were selling one disc a month. And they had stolen something of mine. It was an eagle. And it turned out, once I started looking, every single thing in their portfolio was stolen. Every single thing. They even stole from a famous artist named J. Scott Campbell. He used to illustrate for DC, I think. So I started contacting those artists and being kind of a narc. But it's just something artists do, because a lot of times my art will get stolen for like a T-shirt or something, and then artists will contact me, and we kind of have a community where we sort of police and help each other out in that way. But anyway, as soon as I got involved in that, I found out that there's sort of a history of this happening. And I guess there was an artist a few years ago that said he had done all of his own artwork and was selling it, and it turned out every single thing was stolen. It's crazy.
Wow.
And that's odd to me, because I've never seen it to that extent in any other thing that I've been involved in. Like I do a lot of stuff in like the pinball and arcade world, and I'm sure there've been like counterfeits and stuff like that, and stealing, but not to this extent. So that was weird. But I didn't mean to lead with a negative thing. Almost everything has been positive. And I think what is so like flattering is a lot of the people who are now collecting my discs, like they've been buying like every single one for like a year and a half. And that is wild. Because I've never really been able to find a product where people do that. I've tried releasing prints and t-shirts and stuff, and then you'll get some people who buy like one or two things a year, and that's great too. But like just this dedication is just really overwhelming and flattering and very cool. So
is creating artwork for discs a different process than t-shirts, the other kind of graphic design that you've done?
What's cool is with Discraft, like they just print full color, like we were just saying. So luckily, there's nothing different I have to do with my artwork. It's the single color discs, like the hot stamps, that are a lot more complicated. Because actually, when I designed the wizard thing for Gateway, when I first designed it, there were a lot of details that were like way too fine. So I had to go back in and knock some of those out, because the foil, when it stamps down, like it'll get clogged, and things will run together, or bridge together is a technical term. So that's a lot more challenging. With that one, I can't just take something I made for a t-shirt or something else and transfer it right over it. It kind of has to be made specifically for that. Okay. So I'm definitely gonna be making some of those, but probably not as many as these full color discs.
A little bit more time intensive.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you excited about as far as the future of the disc golf stamping world?
Yeah, I wanted to try some things where they're stamping with multiple colors of foil at once. I think that would be cool. I'm excited about, I just signed up with Innova to be one of their featured artists. So what we're going to be doing is, like, every couple months, I'm going to be designing a single stamp disc for them, and then they're going to go out and promote it, which I hopefully will really help kind of get my name out there more, because there's only so much I can do on my own, you know. And with Discraft, like the discs that I did for them, they sold a lot of them, but my name wasn't on them, you know. Or it probably was like in the product description, but not on the disc itself. So,
right.
And, you know, I mean, that may sound egotistical, but like, since this is my job, it's kind of like, it's really important. You know, my whole family's income is based on selling my art, or mostly like selling my services as a freelancer. So just, you know, the more my art gets out there, that it's always a good thing.
One of our players was curious if Gritty will ever find his way to a disc, if that's even possible.
Yeah. You know, I asked the Flyers if that would be cool, and it's not cool. The problem, so I created Gritty, but whenever you work with a company of that size, they have the lawyers. Yeah. Their lawyers are bigger and more powerful than mine. So, there was an artist, I guess, who designed the Fanatic, the Philly Fanatic. And I think when he designed it, or she, I think it was like they kind of neglected to transfer the rights, or I'm not real sure technically, but anyway, like they had to buy the rights later, the merchandising rights from the artist or something.
Oh, wow.
So I think after that, I think all sports teams will never make that mistake again, or, you know, mistake on their end. Anyway, so unfortunately, I am not, even though I created him, I am not allowed to draw him and sell him on things, which is frustrating, because especially when Gritty first came out, there were so many people doing bootlegs, you know, selling Gritty on t-shirts, selling him everywhere without licensing him and without giving the Flyers a piece. They could do it. They weren't allowed to do it, but they get away with it. And I couldn't, you know, so.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep asking. I wonder, I think the more time that passes, you know, they might be more into it. But I would love to do just like a solid orange disc and just like his big ugly face on it. You know, I think that could be big. And I think if I posted that to some like Gritty fan groups, it would probably get people into disc golf, or at least like awareness of disc golf, people who had no idea what it was, you know, kind of introduce new people to it. but I'm trying.
Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us tonight, Brian. It's been a huge pleasure. I think we've talked just a little bit about possibly one day doing a Center County disc golf sort of fundraiser disc with your artwork, and hopefully we can make something like that happen in the next several months here. But yeah, it's great to get to know you just a little bit, and thanks so much for sharing a little bit about your story.
Sure. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks again.